here with another ship's roster review today. Today I'm going to be looking at Darth Platypus's ships. So let's take a first look at capital ships. And based off the fleet, I'm going to suggest I think the best fleet commander for you to go with is Chimera. Having looked at your fleet commanders, it's excellent because you basically already have Chimera and Executrix for the most part fully maxed out apart from ability levels on and gear pieces and such on the characters. Although quickly looking at your Tarkin here, one thing just to note is the mods aren't fully maxed out. And why is that? Because you don't have a 5 dot mod right here. Having 5 dot level 15 mods is the best, is what you want at the minimum. Even if it's a bad mod, it doesn't matter as long as it's level 15 5 dot. Obviously getting up to 6 dot mods is the best, but you don't need that. At least put 5 dot level 15 mods on all the ships you typically use. But you have both of these guys maxed out, which is excellent. They're the best two fleet commanders in the game. But for the fleet I'm going to currently suggest for you to use, we're going to go with Chimera. However, Executrix may prove useful for some of the future fleets you may want to develop out. So, going off of the Chimera here, what's your starting fleet going to be currently for ships? Well, first it should be TIE Advanced and Biggs Starklighter. Biggs is one of the best tanks in the game. You really don't have the other great tanks in the game for ships well developed out, which include Houndstooth and Sunfat. So that means no matter what, you should be using Biggs. And having a ship like TIE Advance will hopefully help Biggs get target lock out. On top of that, you probably want to use Imperial TIE Fighter. The other option instead of Imperial TIE Fighter is Ghost, but Imperial TIE Fighter is better well developed at this point. So with Imperial TIE Fighter, targeting computer is pretty important. It's the first thing you're going to want to do in order to get foresight on it, so you get one foreshore dodge in order to give your capital ship more speed. On the rare occasion when the other side appears way faster than you, you may want to try using the basic to get target lock so that they don't kill your TIE Advanced early on. But if it looks like you're a little bit faster, you always want to go with that special on Imperial TIE Fighter. If you want to go the Ghost route, you can use Ghost to try to stealth TIE Advance so you don't have to worry about dying. But for the moment, I think the best thing to do is to stick with Imperial TIE Fighter based on what you have. So, TIE Advance, Biggs, and TIE Fighter should probably be your starting three right now, as I'm sure they probably are. For your reinforcements, though, you're missing out currently on the best reinforcement in the game, which also should be your first reinforcement you call, which is Phantom 2. Two big things you need to worry about here is the development of Ezra, overall development of all the characters, but development of Ezra most importantly, and the reinforcement ability. You should work on maxing out this reinforcement ability, Covert Strike. The next reinforcement ability you put anything into should be Covert Strike, as it will reduce the reinforcement countdown of your capital ship by 1, which means immediately on the turn, after you call in Phantom 2, you can call in another ship. And swarming the other side is one of the most important things you can do in the game. If you have the ship's advantage, you'll win most of the time. The other important thing about Phantom 2, which also helps with this ship's advantage, is maximum impact right here, which is why you want to gear Ezra up so that you can max out this ability, because this can deal a massive amount of damage to the other side. If you have Phantom nearly maxed out, it can deal between 80 to 100k of damage normally. So work on gearing up Ezra especially. Gear up Sabine and Chopper too. It just helps overall and will give more damage and speed to your ship. But Ezra's probably the most important one currently out of them. But overall, just gear all three of them so that the ship gets overall better and you can put more into its abilities. But Phantom 2, once you max that out and get at least Ezra to gear 10 or 11, should be your first reinforcement. Another great reinforcement you'll want to currently use is going to be Slave 1. It'll taunt, so since you don't have another great taunting tank to put in as a reinforcement, you definitely want to have Slave 1 as that option to come in and taunt, and it's a decent attacker that deals a decent amount of damage and can be really annoying to come out on offense and can take out a ship and has some target lock synergy, especially with Biggs, that can hurt if Biggs is still out on the battlefield. Some other good reinforcements, you put in a little bit of work into Cassian's U-Wing here if you wanted to gear up Jin, Cassian, K2SO a little bit more. Cassian's U-Wing makes a really good reinforcement because it has some dispels on it that help out a lot. If you want another good dispelling ship, TIE Reaper, but I believe Cassian's U-Wing on its reinforcement here completely dispels all buffs on all enemies and inflicts offense down, defense down, which means you're dealing out more damage while they're dealing less damage to you. So just really nice reinforcement abilities there. So go ahead, put more work into these characters so that you're increasing the damage and speed of the ship. If you want to check my YouTube channel, I put out a video, I think probably a month ago at this point, detailing exactly why it's important to look into gearing characters up for ships. If you're a little confused on why this makes a ship better, but overall, it basically increases the speed and the damage of the ship, based off the preset stuff that CG put in ship. Basically, ships is like arena before mods. Everything has a set amount it increases, no matter what. So we got Phantom 2 once you max out Covert Strike, Slave 1, and Cassian's U-Wing as some good reinforcements for you. We need a fourth reinforcement just to fill it out. And really, fourth reinforcement comes down to what's good for you. Scimitar works really well in this suggested fleet because you have Imperial TIE Fighter. So if you bring in Scimitar, it can put a false taunt on Imperial TIE Fighter, hopefully causing it to dodge a little bit more, give it a little bit more protection. It also can be annoying on defense if it puts it on TIE Advance, because TIE Advance does a lot of damage on basic, and Scimitar would be giving it retribution. So that can hurt. Ghost is good especially if you're using Phantom, and overall it's very useful in some other meta fleets. So just gearing up these characters won't hurt you at all. You currently have Wedge up, though he's not the best. He could come in and deal a decent amount of damage for you. So just kind of play around, see what you think is best. I would suggest Scimitar probably, just because depending on the circumstances, it could be really useful with Imperial TIE Fighter. So for reinforcements again, Phantom 2, Slave 1, Cassian's U-Wing, and probably Scimitar, or if you want Wedge or Ghost would all be decent picks. I don't know much about Cassian, so you can feel free to put some others in, but it is really nice to have a Dispeller on your reinforcements to bring in for things like Slave 1. So now let's just kind of look at where you should be headed to in the future. In terms of capital ships, it looks like you put a little bit more effort into Mace than Home 1. Home 1's really going to be the better capital ship for you to be using for things like territory battles or on offense and territory wars. because it has Rebel synergy and there's a lot of Rebel ships in the game. Yeah, there's a few Galactic Republic ships, but most of them, apart from Anakin's Starfighter, are not too meta at the moment, though it is a little bit more competitive right now. But I think when it comes to player versus environment, this will be more useful of a ship to have. Band together, the unique ability of ship is always the most capital ship is always the most important one to get up. So focus on getting that up a little bit once you gear up the character more. But this is mainly for player versus environment for like territory battles. That's probably the most use you'll get out of Home 1 right now because in the meta it's not a great defensive ship, even though it can be good offensively with things like Geos. Um, Now, as I said, Executrix and Chimera are looking really good. If you want to put some Zetas into either of these characters, get their capital ships going faster, that may give you an advantage. You really kind of want to look at a comparison between what the other capital ships currently in your arena look like. If they have Zetas on their guys, then it's definitely worth it to do this because having a speedier capital ship uh, helps out a lot. But if they don't have Zetas on theirs yet, you could do it just to help maybe ensure you to win a little bit more often or not worry about it. But Executrix for some future fleets is going to be really helpful. And what are some of those future fleets? Well, something you could invest in that is really useful with Executrix is a Geos fleet. And with the Geos fleet, you have two starting options. You have all three Geonosians, or you have Houndstooth and two of the Geonosians, Geonosian Soldier and Geonosian Spy, with Sunfac being a reinforcement. Normally, is how it would work. You could bring in one of the attacking Geos as a reinforcement instead. I've seen that happen, and it can be annoying. But these are typically the two combos of Geos, is either them with Houndstooth or them with Sunfac as the starting tank, and the other is brought in as a reinforcement. Um, so you can go that route with Executrix, and it proves very difficult to defeat on offense. And if you're seeing a lot of Geos in your fleet, that's probably the route you want to start developing. Another option is Xanadu Blood should hopefully be free to play pretty soon, and Houndstooth just became free to play. And it looks like you've been putting some star development into your boss. You already have Cad Bane to gear 11. You're probably going to be gearing up Bosk soon, I would imagine. If not, you should already be gearing him up. Um, and just start working on the stars of these guys, Xanadu Blood, once he becomes free to play, and Houndstooth, since he already is free to play, once you get to the point where whatever current farm you're doing is finished. I would recommend starring these guys up as soon as possible. And what would be the third ship you would put with these guys? And I believe you would put them under an Executrix lead. Well, the third ship you'd put with these guys is going to be either Ghost or Anakin's ETA, although Anakin's ETA will not be free to play for another 3 months probably. So I would probably work on the Ghost to go with these guys in a starting fleet. Um, so those are several possible future options for development. Going with Bosk would either way you probably need to get Bosk up so you can get Chewie 7-star if you don't already have Chewie 7-star. And the Geos should prove useful, especially in PvE for you if you're having any difficulties there. Anyhow, they have some of the best synergies in ships, and if you feel like you can deviate to gear them up, Geospy and Sunfac. Sunfac's probably the more important one to gear up, and as you're also like leveling up um, these guys' skills, just keep in mind the uniques are the most important things. I also did a video breakdown of Geos about a month ago if you want to learn more exactly about how they work. Um, but those would be some things I would just keep in mind for the future of ships. Probably the Xanadu Blood, Houndstooth, Ghost team is better, but the Geos team still is super competitive in fleets and is still probably the bigger part of the meta for ships. I kind of wish there was a meta report for ships so that we could tell exactly what was going on in comparison, but hopefully this has proved helpful so far. So just as a little quick recap, for your current fleet, I'm suggesting you use Chimera with TIE Advanced, Biggs Dark Lighter, and Imperial TIE Fighter. And if you wanted to develop it out instead to use and just test which one was better for you, you could develop out the Ghost a little bit and replace it in the spot of the Imperial TIE Fighter. And then as reinforcements, you can use the Phantom 2 once you max out its reinforcement ability, Slave 1, uh, Cassian's U-Wing, then probably the Scimitar, but you could go with the Ghost or Wedge Antilles, or just try out some other ships you think might make a good option for that fourth reinforcement. As in reinforcements, you just want to be thinking about what will be most helpful just in case I need it, especially in the spot of the fourth reinforcement. I hope this has helped Dark Platypus, kind of giving you an idea of where ships are. If you want to look back at my channel on YouTube, I've posted some videos going over a couple of the different factions. I hopefully will put some up in the future going over some others and talking kind of about like what makes up a ship and that sort of thing, just so people have a better understanding. But again, if you have any questions, just direct message me on Discord, and I really hope this helps. Talk to you later. Bye.